Hi, this is Joe Wells. I'm going to talk about my book, The Last Ruble. Here I'm going to talk about chapter 1 a little bit. It's called The Flight. And then I'm going to move into chapter 2, which is titled Sun Records. Chapter 1 is short, but it's important. You basically meet Jack. Jack is, you learn that he's in the financial world. You learn that he travels a lot. You learn that he gets jet lag. And you learn about his sense of humor. And I think it's important for you to read it because it sets up the rest of the chapters. So Jack gets in a cab at Heathrow. 6:30 in the morning. When you fly from the U.S. to London, you'd leave at night, get there early in the morning. Jack's normal routine was get there at 6:30 in the morning, fighting the jet lag, get to the hotel, take a shower, put on a suit and tie, and be down to the London Financial District by 9 o'clock meetings. But he'd find out that this wasn't going to be the routine on this arrival. But this story kind of evolves around Jack gets into the cab. It's one of the black cabs, famous in London. He gets in, the cab driver starts playing Elvis music very loud. So Jack asks the guy to turn it down. The cab driver picks up on Jack's accent and asks him where he's from. Jack tells him, "I'm from Memphis." Well, the cab driver says, "Well, you have any Elvis stories?" Jack said, or actually asked him, did you know Elvis? And Jack says, "No, he was before my time." Jack went on to share a story with him. Jack went to Columbia Military Academy. And when he was 17, him and a buddy of his were out on Elvis Presley Boulevard. If you know anything about Memphis during those days, and maybe even today, it's kind of a rough area. So they were out there doing some things that they weren't supposed to do, which I don't go into here nor the book. But Jack and his buddy were in a car, and they were coming up. They were going to pass in front of Elvis's house, and there was a big major traffic jam. And all of a sudden, they saw sirens coming up from behind them. They got a little paranoid, actually. And as they progressed through in front of Elvis's house, there were ambulances and, again, police cars and sirens, all kinds of stuff going on. Well, they were a little shook up, so they went on up the road a little bit, and they pulled over to a bar to get a beer. And they were sitting there drinking the beer, and the news was on, and there was an announcement. Elvis Presley had died. So they were actually driving through that traffic jam at the time Elvis had died. Now, the cab driver enjoyed that story, and he said, "Do you have any more Memphis stories?" And Jack said, "Actually, I do. And one of my favorite is about Sun Records recording studio. That's where all the Elvis started, and Johnny Cash and Carl Perkins. Is really a historical place." So Jack tells a story of him, and he had a buddy named Sean Lane. Sean's died now, and Sean was just one of the greatest musicians who ever lived, and that's not just my opinion. But Sean and Jack had been out partying late night down on Bill Street. Well, they'd got about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Jack, he had to get up and go to work. He was already tired, so he said, "Sean, I'm leaving. If you want to catch a ride, you better come on." And Sean's a very social guy. He wanted to say bye to everybody in the bar before he left. There's probably 20 people in there. So Jack pushed him, and they got in the car, and they were headed up Union Street. Right as they got in front of Sun Records, Sean said, "Turn down this alley." So Jack whipped down the alley and went around. And Sean said, "Go around here and park in the back." So we pulled up in the back, and we were at the back of Sun Records. I said, "What are we doing here?" He said, "Well, come on, let's go in." I said, "Do you have a key?" And Sean just smiled. I had a little devilish smile. He used that quite a bit to respond to people. So he pulled out this big key ring, probably had 15, 20, 30 keys on it, I don't know. But he opened the back door to Sun Records at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And Sean had grabbed a 6-pack of beer from the bar we were at, and we took the beer in, and we sat down in the recording room, and where the recording console was, opened the beer and started talking. Well, time flies, I guess, when you're having fun. So the sun was up, and we heard a jingle at the front door, and we saw some people coming in. And what we had forgotten was they gave these Elvis Presley tours to Sun Records. Well, we jumped up under the console, and we were pale. We didn't want to get caught. We didn't know what was going to go on. And Sean knew, but I didn't know that they didn't take people actually into the recording booth. So we were sitting up under the console. And Sean, who's always tempting danger, I guess, living on the edge, opened a beer. You could hear it. And I think that the guy giving the tours could hear it. And as a matter of fact, the guy giving the tours was at the bar we had just left. So he knew something was up, but he didn't want the tourists to know what was up. But he was pretty sure some of the tourists heard the beer opening. So we heard him say, sometimes it seems like you can still hear the spirits of the people who used to record here. That was a true story and amazing. The other part about chapter 2, which relates to the book The Last Ruble, is we introduce a new character here when Jack checks into the hotel. And for the time being, and for up until another chapter or two further down the road, he refers to her as a lady in the black hat. Now you can read this in chapter 1 and 2, and I hope you enjoy it.